You are here. I'm so excited to have Louise Brogan back on the show. Not back on the show, the first time on this particular show. Grace said a little with our show we did before. It's been an actual exactly a year when we had Louise
exactly
on the other show that we shall not name. But the show that shall not be named.
Yes, I went back to make sure that I had everything right for your bio. Like, what did we say the last time? And then, I go to update it, of course, with what you are doing. Like, I do things like make sure that the podcast you were talking about a year ago is still going, stuff like that. And I noticed the date, and it's like, it's not exactly the same date because of, but it was like the exact same week. I was like, this is so exciting. So I guess
That's
true to what we were saying earlier, September is just LinkedIn's like time to shine, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should go ahead and book you in for September next year.
That's right. Every year, Louise is going to be on the show in September. So if you guys are just joining us, thank you guys so much for watching. We would love for you guys to sprinkle the love across the interwebs. Let other people who are like, you know what, they're looking for a job right now. They need to up their LinkedIn game. Let them know down below. Call them in. Mention them down below, and they can, if they can't make it live, they can watch the replay because I know that Louise is going to drop a ton of knowledge bombs. And I want to do some shout outs to some of our friends. Tracy E is here. Tracy, thank you so much for showing up, watching over on LinkedIn. She is a longtime watcher. Thank you. And Sabrina, of course. Hey, it's me, Sabrina. Hey, Sabrina, it's me, Jeff. Glad to see you again on a Friday. It makes my day seeing you in the comments every time. So thank you guys for showing up. This is going to be a fun show. If you're in the comments, let us know. Do you struggle with LinkedIn, or we got a bunch of changes coming out today that we're going to break down. So buckle up, because we're going to be going through this at a pretty good clip, but there's some stuff that I think you guys are going to find really exciting on LinkedIn. So without further ado, I am going to hit the podcast button, and we will get started here. By the way, if you guys want to know about the show, and kind of sometimes it's hard to forget on a Friday. I mean, it's the end of the week. We're kind of done sometimes. But all you have to do is text me at 903-287-9088, and you will get a reminder. There's no spam. There's nothing. It's just the show reminders 10 minutes before the show starts. If you would like to have that reminder, 903-287-9088, and that will enter you on my text list, and kind of get past these pesky algorithms. So here we go.
Hey, that's how Jeff reminds me to show up every week.
That's
so,
right.
It
Exactly.
It works because I'm here every week, right, Jeff?
Sometimes she doesn't. So anyway, yes. So here we go. I'm going to hit play, and hit record, and we'll get started. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Grace Duffy, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on everything that's happening in the world of social media.
Are you ready to level up your LinkedIn? Today, we are joined by Louise Brogan, and we're going to be exploring how to build a LinkedIn community around your brand and the rise of the LinkedIn creator. We're also going to uncover updates to company pages and LinkedIn learning that you might want to consider for your content marketing strategy. We're going to be saying a little tear goodbye to LinkedIn stories, and what you need to know about the new LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program. So, Louise, I'm so excited you're here. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Jeff, and thank you so much for inviting me onto your show today. There's so much happening on LinkedIn. It's crazy. So it's a great time to get to share that with everybody.
Yeah. So if you guys do not know who Louise Brogan is, she is a LinkedIn expert trainer and speaker, and she is the host of the Linking In with Louise podcast and the founder of the LinkedIn Learners Lab. She also shares videos with tips and techniques for leveraging LinkedIn on her YouTube channel, LinkedIn with Louise, and we're going to bring up all those links later and drop them down in the comments as well. So, Louise, you're such a knowledge. I was on with Ian not very long ago, and once again, you blew my mind about LinkedIn, so I'm so excited you're on the show today.
Excellent.
So, Louise, we're going to talk about this quite a bit, but there has been
Mm.
a giant bump in engagement on LinkedIn over this past year and a half. And so,
Mm.
you being the LinkedIn expert that you are, what are some of the key trends that you've seen that have sparked more interaction among LinkedIn members? Because we always hear like, "Oh, I'm never on LinkedIn unless I'm looking for a job." But I don't think that's the case, because when I go on there, I mean, there's just a wealth of information and articles and networking, and I've got this whole LinkedIn community over there, like people that will always comment on my post. Hi, Robert Lee, by the way. So it's stuff like, there's a real community and a real social
Mm.
sense there. So what is going on? Tell us.
Yeah, I think it really it really sparked by the pandemic and the fact that more people were starting to work from home and wanted that connection with the people that they were working with, but they didn't have it in person. And LinkedIn was basically provided. It was just kind of in the right place at the right time. They were looking at improving the way for people to build relationships and community on the platform. And it was just that kind of at the same time, people were starting to flock there more often. The number of people on LinkedIn has jumped to about 750 million users. I think at the start of last year, it was about 630 million. So it's a massive leap of the number of people who are actually joining LinkedIn. And there's a massive increase in the number of people who are engaging with stuff on LinkedIn. So it's win-win all around, especially if you help people with LinkedIn.
That's
Absolutely. Well, we have some updates to the company pages. We're going to start with that because we have a lot to get into.
mm-hmm.
So, LinkedIn
Mhm.
says that it is looking to provide more ways for brands to maximize their content efforts, their content marketing efforts on the
Mhm.
platform. And they also want to tap into, as you mentioned, this rise in user engagement, people that are on there actually interacting on a day to day basis. And they have this new
Yeah.
feature coming out to company pages called Articles for Pages. So
Mhm.
tell us about this update, and what do you think this means for brands and companies with company pages?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because individual profiles have been able to write articles on LinkedIn for a long time now, and pages haven't had that capability. So they're really saying that it's time to up your game in the kind of content that you're sharing as a brand on LinkedIn. And one way they want you to do this is by writing longer form articles. And in those articles, you can embed video and you can embed links to external websites, by the way. But it's about meeting people where they already are. So your audience, your potential customers and clients are on LinkedIn, and you can be discovered by them if you start sharing articles about the content that the customer or client is interested in. And having the longer piece, it's not just we have an event next week, or we have a new product launch coming up. It's like really building a community and writing articles around the content that your reader wants to see. And one of the things, the benefits for the company page owner is that you will be able to see who is actually engaging and reading our articles. So you'll be able to go and look at the analytics on those posts, on the articles, who is spending time reading that content, and who is really interested in what your company is doing. So I think a lot of people are concerned that, we like to publish our content on our own website.
Mm.
And why
Yes.
would we publish an article on LinkedIn instead? But it actually, if you start sharing the content on LinkedIn, you can then direct people at the end of that article to go and check out more on your website. Or you can give them a free resource at the end of that article that they could then sign up for a free resource or free download, or maybe you're hosting an event or a webinar, and it's a way of capturing those people. I mean, there's so many tools. The lead capture forms that you could use if you create an event on your company page. So you write an article that leads people to want to know more about it, and you're going to host an event or a webinar. People have to, don't have to, but in order to get access to that webinar or that resource, they can fill in the lead capture form, and then you're capturing the people who are most interested in your content and your services and your products. You're capturing their contact details, and then you'll be able to reach out to those people in whatever format you are wanting to use.
Gotcha. So I want to bring up some comments here. So this is what Ian says, and we'll just see what he says here. So interesting. I'm finding that currently I get far less engagement on LinkedIn than other platforms. What is he doing wrong? So do you have an answer for Ian? I have a whole thing, a big long list of what he's doing wrong, but we don't have time today. But what, Louise, would you say?
Okay, all right. Let's break it down. Ian is asking, what are some of your tips for deepening that engagement with your LinkedIn? Yes.
Okay, so what is currently happening on LinkedIn, and I have the perfect example of this. So there was a lady called, I can't remember her surname, but she's called Miriam, and she started a movement literally in the last 48 hours, 24 hours, and it's about inspiring young girls to see what you can become in your career. So it's all, your content on LinkedIn really needs to fit around the professional business network, because that's what people are really there for, and that's what LinkedIn want. They want people building their professional network. But this lady Miriam started a hashtag, "This girl is me." And the idea is that you share a picture of yourself as a child and a picture of yourself as the woman you are today. And you basically tell people what you were told as a child and what you've become in your career. I did this last night. I have over 12,000 views of that so far. So checking out what people are actually talking about on LinkedIn right now. And LinkedIn News gives you this. When you look at your LinkedIn platform, on the right-hand side, LinkedIn News, the top right-hand corner, Ian, will give you the 5 key things people are talking about on LinkedIn right now. So maybe think about using what's current and what people are having discussions about currently. That was one of the other things about the LinkedIn articles. They are saying you may have your more green, your evergreen content on your website, but if there's something happening like the Great Reshuffle or the Great Resignation, and you write an article on that on your company page now, that's really current. That's something your community are talking about. So check out what people are talking about and what's trending on LinkedIn, and that might be a good place to start, Ian.
Okay, good. We got Ian fixed up. So he did say, though, LinkedIn Live is a bit different. He doesn't get anywhere near what he used to get, but he still get more engagement than our posts. And I agree. I think LinkedIn Live, I know, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later, but it is a great way. That's why we stream over there and why we love it so much as well. So there's a question here this is a great one from Elisa watching over on YouTube. Yeah. Thanks, Elisa. She says, I'm seeing more polls than anything else right now, and they usually have nothing to do with the topic the person specializes in. I don't want to resort to this, but it seems to be working. So what would you tell Elisa? Because you see these things and you want to hop on kind of, I guess, the trends or what's popular. But what if it doesn't fit in your niche? What would you tell Elisa?
So, Elisa, I use polls, but I use them maybe once every couple of weeks because I do see they are being overused. And the most common poll you see is a poll about LinkedIn polls, which is just driving me nuts. But if you can write a poll that actually relates to what you do, then you can create content around it. So, for example, with me, I teach people how to use LinkedIn for business. So I might do a poll and say, do you have a company page? Yes, no, or never thought about it. And the key in the poll is to start the discussion again with your community. It's all about creating conversation. So the 4th option is always other, let me know below. But my polls are always related to my business. I don't get why people create polls that have got nothing to do with what they're doing, because strategically, what's the point in that? If we're on here to raise our profiles, promote our products and services, but it's the social selling aspect means you don't just go buy my amazing thing. You want to create conversation around it. So if polls are working, use the poll to have a discussion around whatever it is that you are building your business on. That would be my advice.
Great advice there. So Grace, I know you had another question about pages. So if you won't ask it, I will.
Oh, yeah. Is that a threat?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you go ahead and ask it then, Jeff.
No,
be my guest.
No, so we're talking. So I want to talk about the new company pages, because I really think, and I haven't used them, like you were talking about these new articles where you can write, and a lot of people are nervous of putting their best content on LinkedIn. Are there some calls to? You mentioned, sign up for my webinar. I mean, where do you put those calls to action? Do you put them at the front? What options do you have? Because I think a lot of people haven't tried this. And, a lot of times when a platform rolls out with something, if you start using it, you get a little bump on, how it shows up in the algorithm. And so if people want to start testing this out, what kind of call to actions work, where to put them, how to format it, that kind of stuff. Give us just like a real brief overview.
Yeah, so what I really like about articles is you can put rich media into them. So you
Oh,
can embed your YouTube video. You can embed your podcast into an article, but only it's really weird. Only if you host it on a particular platform. So I've done that in the past. And then you can also pull out quotes and you can tag people and you will see. So LinkedIn does recommend, they have an article about this themselves on their marketing blog. I think it's Randstad is the company that they recommend you go and check out. And if you look at their LinkedIn marketing's article about articles and company pages, there's lots of companies and people who are tagged in those articles. So be clever about how you use them and embed content into them. So if you had a sign up page for your webinar, you have a clickable link in that article. So I think the other thing is one of the reasons they're saying articles are a great thing for a company page to do is you can like really spotlight people who work within your organization. So why not get your head of human resources to do an article about what it's like to work in your company and give that person a bit of a spotlight. And then so community building on LinkedIn is not just about building a community of potential buyers. It's also about building a community around your brand so that your company becomes an appealing place for people to actually want to work. Because I think a lot of companies are struggling to fill places at the minute. So, that all plays part of it as well. Really marketing your company as a great place to get a job.
So I think about that community thing, Gary, Gary watches every week. Thank you, Gary, for showing up again on YouTube. He says, I think LinkedIn is a great place to connect and collaborate. Just yesterday, I heard a woman on the radio, looked her up on LinkedIn, and we're scheduled to chat next week. So that kind of stuff is very, very cool. And I think more and more of those kind of things are going to start happening on LinkedIn, especially with all some of the new stuff we're going to be talking about rolling out. So anyway, it's very, very cool. So let's see. Do you have, as we were thinking about good company pages, other than yours, of course, because I know Louise has got it all sorted out, but do you have any other like good brands or companies we can look at for examples of, this is the right way to do it on LinkedIn?
So there is a UK-based company called Zurich. Well, they're global, but the Zurich UK insurance company page, I think, is a great example. And they have a mixture. They have a mixture of content. They use graphics with a picture of a person who works there and a quote from that person, as well as they talk about their products. Of course they do, but they really mix it up. And I think that's great. There's a contact of mine, a guy called Keith Lewis. This is an absolute brilliant guy. He works in that organization and he is really passionate about employee advocacy. So he tries to get the content on the page to reflect a lot of the people who work in the company so they feel involved, and then they want to share that content out into their personal networks, and that gives your company page a much broader reach. And I think that is a brilliant idea. So that's definitely one I think that's worth checking out.
Very, very cool. So
I think Keith is
not right now. Watch our show. Don't go check now.
Yeah,
watch our show. Yeah, you can do it later.
Now.
Yeah.
Well, I think Keith is actually in the comments, so he is joining us here today.
Oh, cool.
I believe I see his meme up there. So this Articles for Pages was announced as part of LinkedIn's last quarterly update, in which they announced a few other tweaks. One of them is that LinkedIn announced that an upgraded integration between its live streaming and events tool. And we talked about that briefly as we are starting, because as we scheduled the show, it automatically, for some reason, became an event on Jeff's page, but not on mine. So they say that this will enable brands to schedule live events on the platform and facilitate a new way to a new promotion option for upcoming live video events. So definitely, if you are doing live video, check that out. Other news is that they added 2 new ad optimization options. One was the brand lift testing. Similar to brand lift on other platforms, it will now enable brands to measure the impact of their promotions by taking a baseline of how people perceive that brand. And then the other update was the reach optimization, which now will enable advertisers to optimize their reach for a unique member count. So if you are doing LinkedIn ads, definitely check that out. But the thing that piqued our interest, very much so, is that LinkedIn is also lowering the threshold to access LinkedIn Live. I know that that's something that people are still clamoring for. There's all these like, you need to do this, you need to do that. and I think more and more people are getting access to LinkedIn Live, but they said that they're now reducing the requirement from a 500 page followers or connections for personal profiles to 150. And this is the first time, that's 150, by the way. This is the first time I've actually seen them put any numbers or parameters. They've always been like, hey, just keep applying and you'll get it, just or keep posting content and you'll get it. But this is the first time that they gave some hard, fast numbers. Did I miss something, Louise? Like, is this something that everyone else knows and I didn't?
No, I did actually. I did read something that somebody who worked inside LinkedIn did give out some numbers about this a few months ago. So these numbers are not a big surprise to me. But I also, one of the things that I find very interesting is they say that if you apply for LinkedIn Live, there's two things. You should already be sharing video on your personal profile. So I think they literally go through it one by one. So they check if you've already done video. And the second thing is you have got to have a profile that abides by community standards. Now, that's like, well, what exactly does that mean? Mm-hmm. So your professional community standards, do you keep it clean? Are you professional with your network?
Right.
Are you using, I think if you use some people use third-party tools to send messages and stuff, and maybe those things would maybe stop you from getting it. But that's what they say, abide by our community standards. And one tip that I was given, which definitely worked for me, is start using video on your profile before you apply, so they know that you can carry it, I guess.
That's cool. So, so speaking of lowering things, they said, Lisa goes, they lowered it so much they let me in. Hey, they let me in when I guess they must have left the door cracked because I was able to sneak in. So, and it's really, I know a lot of people have been frustrated because they've wanted this for so long, but I really think that it's great. One, the tips that you gave Louise, that, maybe put some video, make sure you're doing video on there. But lowering it to 150, and I know they look at other things. So if you're swearing uncontrollably on LinkedIn, that may be an issue. You might want to check that out. But they let those kind of people in too. But so it's really interesting. I have heard a lot of people have started to gain access that hadn't had it before. How often can you apply? I mean, I know you don't want to spam LinkedIn, but how often would you recommend somebody apply if they haven't gotten it yet?
So I've had it for a couple of years now, but when I first applied, I applied 4 times before I got it. So I think if you apply and you don't get it, and I don't think they tell you if you didn't get it. I don't think they tell you you're unsuccessful. Mm-hmm. So I would just wait maybe and apply the following month. I think that would be fair enough. But also, Jeff, I've heard a few people recently telling me that they've got it. And then other people saying, well, I got it a year ago and I haven't used it yet. And I'm curious as to whether those people will have access removed.
Right.
So that would be interesting to see as well.
Yeah. So Dr. Ello says, I spent 4 months sending messages to LinkedIn on a daily basis until I got my account approved. By the way, I reopened the same ticket every time. That's funny. But he got it. He got in. So that's very, very cool. So I didn't get, I think I got rejected, or like you said, that you just don't get it, for like three times when I first started. And then finally, I don't know if I know somebody or whatever, but it finally let me in. So, and I love going to LinkedIn. I think we get so much great engagement, and I mean, it's worth continuing. I know people are frustrated, but it's worth continuing to apply for LinkedIn Live, because I think it's amazing. So we mentioned these 2 little ad things. So we got this new brand lift testing that it's kind of like other brand lifts on other platforms, and then also this reach optimization kind of ads. Do you run many ads on LinkedIn, Louise, or is it all organic for you?
It is all organic. I have attempted LinkedIn ads in the past. I really feel that you need an ads expert if you're going to spend money on ads, especially on LinkedIn, because it seems to be more expensive. But everything for me is organic. And if a client says, well, can you do ads for us? I will say, no, I'll find somebody else who can.
That's good. Yeah. Because they are super expensive. I don't know if there's another platform that's more expensive on this. So Ian says this really quick. He goes, I think the quality of the comments on LinkedIn Live is great. And notice that Ian's making this comment from YouTube. I just wanted to point that out. But Anyway, yes, I think that is very.
He is channel hopping right now.
That's right, he
He's
is.
on
Thank you,
LinkedIn
Ian,
and on YouTube, so
for doing that.
you
So
need to be nicer to Ian.
I know Ian actually is one of my friends, and we actually just.
He's a good guy.
He is great. I was on with Louise on his show not very long ago. But he was also, really quickly, I want to do a shout out to our sponsors of the show, which is Ecamm. That's what we're producing this show on, switching the cameras, all that cool stuff. They just had this amazing Leap Into Live streaming boot camp this last week. Yesterday was the last day, and some of you I know are really sorry that you missed it. But they have a cool thing that they decided to do. You can actually get the replay at ecamm.tv/replay for only $10 for life. And I'm telling you what, not only was that a bearded guy, he had a decent session, and Ian had a great session, but look at these are just some of the people. I went to, Dr. Elo is in there. I mean, there's so many, there's not a session that I went to that I did not learn something. And so, oh my gosh, $10, that's a no-brainer. That's like, what, is it like 2 Happy Meals? Throw your kids a bag of carrots and let them, forget about the Happy Meal. Buy this at ecamm.tv/replay. Your kids, your dentist, your doctor will thank me. Just, spend it on that. So it was amazing. I was so blown away with how, and I was there, of course, I was a speaker, but even not being a speaker, it was amazing. So I'm telling you, ecamm.tv/replay, $10 for the replays for life. All those sessions, Pat Flynn, Ian Anderson Gray. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So sorry.
It was worth it. I caught some of it as I was like doing my day, and I was like, oh man, I missed that, or I didn't get to go to that session. So I missed Jeff's because it was like when I was picking up kids. So I'm really excited for that $10 replay.
Yeah. So Dustin,
I am your biggest fan.
Dustin goes, take away my kids' Happy Meals? Yes, Dustin, I will. I will. For this, I will. They need to be watching this because they'll learn something so they can support you in their retirement, in your retirement. So anyway, okay, next section, we're going to be talking all about opportunities with LinkedIn Learning. So this is really interesting. Grace, kind of break the... am I doing this section or are you? I think you are.
I could do it. So LinkedIn expanded its Learning Hub for more users, making 40 popular courses available for free to help boost the take-up of this training opportunity. Now, it's free for a limited time. So they launched this back as a beta back in April, but now they're opening it up to more organizations. And according to LinkedIn, this Learning Hub, that's what they're calling it, the Learning Hub, enables businesses to provide professional development opportunities for their employees. Like, I know this is a struggle for a lot of employers, especially smaller companies that may not have the resources to put together professional development, but they have to grow their employees. This is a problem. I know my husband's company, he works for a small gaming company here in Dallas. And that's one of the things, they're too small to put on the professional development, but their employees need it. So this is a great resource, whether you're part of a big company, running a company, or just out there looking for your next thing. So LinkedIn is using data insights to help highlight relevant skill paths and career development. So let me highlight that. They're combining all of the information they have about what skills you need to develop your career and putting that as part of this program. So Louise, this sounds like such a great opportunity. They're saying that it's only open to certain companies, or maybe it's only certain companies are doing this, but could you give us some insights into what is involved and how to take advantage of this great opportunity? And can anyone have access to it?
I think this is fantastic for organizations. So what they've done is, instead of just having, so at the minute, if you have LinkedIn Learning and you go into LinkedIn Learning, there's so much resources on there about training, and the training is around business, creative, software, and tech. That's the key things. But what they're saying is this learning platform, or this learning hub for organizations, your company can go on there and you can create or curate training pathways for your employees. The company can upload its own training, and LinkedIn somehow is going to add your company branding to your content for your employees. Now, I'm thinking it's probably aimed at slightly larger companies, to be honest, right now. But they're saying you have recommended training. So if you had somebody on a career pathway, they would know the recommended training. And what's really lovely about it is, when you look at it, it's kind of set out like Netflix or like YouTube, the way they've got the training pathways for people. when your employee completes the training, their manager or whoever's in charge of training in the company can see that they've completed the training. They can see who's doing what pathways, and they are mapping. This is clever, I think. LinkedIn have so much knowledge about the skills that people need for particular jobs that they will then recommend. So you want to become like a data miner or something.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the skills that is required for that job. If someone is recruiting people who are software engineers working in Java, and I'm completely showing my age now, these are the key skills that person needs to be successful in applying for that job. So they're able to look at what roles are out there at the minute, what people need for those roles, create pathways for it. But the only thing is, this learning hub it's only for organizations. So it's not for me as a individual. Like, yes, I have a company, but I have, I have people who work for me, but they're not employees. So it's not something for us to use. But we have LinkedIn Learning anyway, that you can go and use that. They're giving it for free to everybody in an organization who currently pays for LinkedIn Learning Pro. So if this is an area that your company fits into, or you're interested in using the LinkedIn Learning, like the volume of training on there is enormous. So if that's something you're interested in, I think you can just go and talk to one of the LinkedIn reps who works in, I think you go to learning.linkedin.com, and it'll show you all the different ways that you can sign up for that with your company. It's free initially, I guess, until they get more people into it, more people using it, and then there will be a charge, but of course they haven't said when yet. Gotcha.
So is this the content that they bought with lynda.com? I know they acquired lynda.com. Is this where that training comes from, some of it?
Some of it, okay. But then there is more inside there, and the companies can upload their own training as well. So it's kind of like, rather than going to a third-party place where you might have your own learning platform or LMS system or whatever, you can put it all inside LinkedIn. It's all in the wrapper of jeffscompany.com, and only your employees get access to that. But you can pull in other people's training from the LinkedIn Learning platform alongside jeffscompany.com training. Gotcha. One thing for individuals who are watching who want to use LinkedIn Learning and haven't got the professional account, did you know that in America you can get LinkedIn Learning for free at your local library? I only found that out recently. And it's not in the UK, but in America you can access LinkedIn Learning for free in a lot of public libraries, which I think is a really good resource for people.
That is cool. I wonder if the remote thing works, because I have my library card I can use on my computer. Let's break. So this, I just want to make sure we're clear on this, because Elisa says, I pay for LinkedIn Learning and there are so many classes, so worth it. But then again, they said that the hub is available for LinkedIn Learning Pro users for free until the 9th of October. So is there different levels? So individuals, it's not free; they have to pay for. I guess I'm still confused.
This is two separate things.
Okay.
This is two separate things. Okay. It's LinkedIn Learning is for individual accounts. As an organization, you might have bought a package of licenses for your staff to access LinkedIn Learning. The LinkedIn Learning Hub is a hub for organizations only. It's going to pull the training that Lisa and I can access of LinkedIn Learning, but the company can then add in its own training into there as well. So think about like Teachable or Thinkific, those kind of places. Instead of having, well, here's our company training modules here. Oh, but also we've bought you licenses for LinkedIn, so you can go over here and learn this. The LinkedIn are saying, let's put it all in one place. So that we're going to tell companies, get the LinkedIn Learning Pro license for your staff, and we're going to invite you to upload your training in there as well. So yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I'm slow and I'm trying to press buttons at the same time, so I'll go back and take notes. We talked with last week we talked with Diana Gladney, which was amazing. She had so much stuff, but we talked about that LinkedIn launched this new feature called Office Hours, where LinkedIn Learning users will be able to tune into live stream sessions with their course instructors, and they get kind of a better direct avenue to this education. So have you had any chance to check any of these live streaming events on LinkedIn, and what do you think about them?
Well, I think they're brilliant. And I went in and checked them out. I mean, I'm such an advocate of LinkedIn anyway. Ian would be laughing at me. But you can see, if you go into, they're tailored. So I do have LinkedIn Learning because I pay for LinkedIn Premium. So I go in like Elisa, and I can see all the courses, and they recommend courses to me based on the other courses that I've already looked at. So I follow Diane, she's awesome, but I'm trying to learn more about video editing and building my YouTube channel. So I've been watching content like that. So then they're saying, well, we recommend you look at these videos, Louise. But the office hours is it's live Q&A, live training sessions with experts. And you can watch the ones that have already passed. So it'll tell you what's upcoming, tell you you can do a search on what you're interested in. So if you're interested in personal development, it'll say, well, these ones are coming up. And they'll say, there's another tab, you click on the other tab, and it says past events. So you can go back and watch older ones, and you can access all the comments that people have in that. So that's what I like a lot about it. So if Jeff, if you and I were LinkedIn Learning certified trainers, we could host an office hour together, and I could be asking you questions, and you could be asking me questions. But kind of like what we're doing now, all the comments come up and people can interact with that. So I think it's a really great new feature on LinkedIn personally. That's only accessible to people who have LinkedIn Learning, whether it's pro or personal.
Got it. I think so.
So there was a interesting quote with this update. It said they're offering this as giving more capacity for instructors to play in the role in the burgeoning creator economy, in which we will definitely get into that LinkedIn Creator Accelerator program in just 1 minute here. They wanted to say, they're saying that this is a good opportunity, one, for networking, because you do have that opportunity to have that one-on-one, ask questions, drop those comments in there. But it's also a good way to grow your audience within a professional, relevant context, And, I'm looking here at the comments, and I know there's a ton of knowledge and experience and expertise, just even in our own audience. I wanted to ask, is there an opportunity for just anyone to create educational content for LinkedIn Learning as a way to either launch a career as a video creator, course creator or whatnot, or a coach, or a side hustle? Is there an opportunity for anyone to just say, look, I created a course and I want to get it on LinkedIn Learning as a way to expand my classes, my audience, or whatever?
Okay, so there's an application process like there is in LinkedIn Live. So you apply to be a LinkedIn Learning certified coach. I don't know if they do this now, but I know there's one of my English colleagues was actually flown out to the US to record her videos. It was like really professionally done. Don't know if that happens now, but you have to apply. They want you to say what 3 topics you are going to teach on. How are you qualified to teach these? I thought that was really interesting because, I teach people how to use LinkedIn, but I haven't got a marketing qualification and I haven't got a teaching qualification. So I was curious to see how my application would be received. So you have to apply, just say why you're qualified. They want you to say what you want to teach, what topics you want to teach on. And again, it falls within these remits of business, I'm just going to double check, business, creative, software, and tech. So they're not interested in someone who's going to teach you how to, do yoga. Well, they have like desk yoga, I suppose. They do have desk yoga classes in LinkedIn Learning.
Wow.
So yes, you have to apply. And then I guess again, they want you to link to a video training where you have been teaching something as well. So they check you out before they let you become a trainer.
So I don't want to show off my desk yoga too much, but if I had something like that, I could probably do that. And on that same note, because something that goes away, like my desktop training of yoga, we also said goodbye to LinkedIn stories. So Grace, I know if you can get through this next section emotionally, will you try?
Physically, well, we actually only, what is today, the 17th, so we have exactly 12 more days with LinkedIn stories.
That's
So
right.
after a year and a half of rolling this out and making us love it, your LinkedIn stories. I was waiting for Excel story, like Microsoft Excel stories,
That's
Microsoft
right.
Word stories. I mean, I thought this was going to be a whole like
Yeah.
mini series. I thought this was going to be like, this is finally like, I didn't hop on Instagram right away. I didn't hop on TikTok right away, but maybe this is where I could be an
Yeah.
influencer, right? A real one, right? So, but they said it's, wasn't really working out for a number of reasons. And they're reimagining the video experience on LinkedIn. We know that they've been pushing video and video experiences, allowing more people to get on LinkedIn Live. And so they want to invest in things that are video products that are richer and more conversational. So they confirmed that as of September 30th, stories will be removed and members will no longer be able to create them. Images or video ads that are scheduled to run between the stories will instead be shared on the professional network's feed. So if that is you, take it up with them, I guess. And then LinkedIn says it's removing the current stories experience and replacing it with something new. But I don't know what that new thing is. Can you give us any insights into what this new evolved experience might entail? And what do you think we can expect from LinkedIn?
It's not going to be LinkedIn TikTok,
Okay.
is it, Louise? Please tell me no.
Oh my gosh.
Not that I don't think so, but I do have an inkling of what it is, because if you follow LinkedIn tech news, if you're like a super geek like me, back in August, I think the owners of an app called Jump Rope announced that they had been bought over by LinkedIn, and I think they had 2 million users. And I feel like they were Australian. I'm not entirely sure. But their video app was the idea was that you created tutorial videos and then they were pushing them out to different social media platforms. So LinkedIn have acquired them, and then they announced that they were taking stories away. They didn't say. It's really funny because I just think they're reimagining stories. That's my impression of it. So I think they're replacing it with these short little tutorial videos. The problem with LinkedIn stories for me was I work on LinkedIn on my desktop, and you never saw them.
Right.
So they are only on the mobile app, and a lot of people, yes, of course, a lot of people use mobile LinkedIn. But a lot of people weren't aware that they were there unless you'd created a story. You didn't really see them at the top of your screen, and you don't see them at all on desktop. So I'm pretty interested to see what comes up with this reimagined, richer version of what this LinkedIn stories is going to be. Also, it might only be for people who have the creator mode turned on, because the founder of Jump Rope said that they were being brought in as part of the work around LinkedIn Creator. So that will be interesting to see if it's only for those people. Who knows? We have to wait and see, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So it was interesting that they said that LinkedIn actually shared its learning from this project that said, you wish videos could live on your profile, not disappear, because that was one of the things is like, I've always had problems with it too. It's like if I create this great piece of content and it's gone in 24 hours, it's a little hard to, work on it sometimes because I'm super lazy. And they said you want to have a more professional story in a more personal way that showcases both your personality and your expertise. Yeah, no kidding. So they're talking about these new creative tools to make engaging videos, and it's really lacking compared to like Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat with the tools that you get to use. So Louise, let's just pull back a little bit and talk about, because you're on LinkedIn so much and you see a lot of stuff. How can users make the most of LinkedIn video? Like not even LinkedIn Live, but like LinkedIn video where you upload that video, like how it is today without any of the fancy stitch stuff that like TikTok has. What's the best way for LinkedIn users?
Yeah. So whenever, it's kind of interesting because I'm going to be doing a series about video on LinkedIn starting at the end of September. So watch this space. But I think the key thing about video for LinkedIn is you have got to add captions, because nobody turns the sound on and people are missing out on that. And your video that you upload cannot be more than 10 minutes long. So I think teaching people things, being of service and coming at it from that angle. Maybe today in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do XYZ in 3 easy steps. That kind of content works. Also, I've seen people do video really well where they have a product and they're literally, it's human to human. You've got somebody standing there being interviewed by their boss about, why did you create this product? How does it work? What are we going to do with it? And people engage with that way more than they do like a really highly polished, not overproduced, professionally produced,
right,
advertising video. People don't want to be advertised to. They want to engage. And, as well, I think creating a video that showcases your knowledge, what your company's really good at, and inviting people to comment below. Again, but it's all about community and engagement. If you cannot get people to start commenting underneath your video content, it's not going to be seen by a lot of people. So you've got to be clever and think, well, what do my network want to know about? Mm-hmm. What do they want to know about our brand, our business? You could do like a founder story. Where did this business come from? What was our small beginnings? Who came up with the idea for this business? Why did we create this business? What is our business passionate about? Maybe you want to be more sustainable or environmentally friendly, and explain why, and do it talking to I do think nothing beats a person talking to camera, right. But you've got to add captions, because otherwise people will just be looking at you talking and scroll past you, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, very true. So speaking of things that are dead, or we think that are dead, Gary asked this great question. Are LinkedIn groups dead, Louise? I think Facebook has the leg up on them there. So I know in past company stuff that we've done with other places that we tried LinkedIn groups, and it got to be a spam a lot kind of stuff over there. Yeah. We quit. So what are your thoughts about LinkedIn groups?
I am in 2 groups that are really excellent. And even those groups, the people who host those groups have to notify the people in the group sometimes to bring you into the group so that you actually join in the conversation. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a guy called Damien Corbett, and he wrote a book about the social CEO. He's got a brilliant group, but he works at it. He'll share something else, and he'll tag me and say, Louise, I thought you'd be interested in this article. What do you have to say about it? So he does make the effort and work at it. So his group is excellent. And I'm in a group that's run by the people who run LinkedIn pages. And that is an excellent group, because that's where I go to ask questions. So it's a resource for me. That's why I go there. I know I'll get my questions answered. And other people ask questions, and I'm able to support them, and it feels like a proper community. But the rest of the groups that I'm in, I might need to clear them out. I agree with was it Gary? There's so many that people. It's like everything; they need to be managed. They have to be managed by somebody, which takes effort and time. Otherwise, they just become somewhere that everyone just shares. Oh, here's my latest post. Here's my latest thing. Here's all about me, and that's not building community. And people don't want to be part of that. So. Yeah, 2 groups that I'm in are excellent. Everything else I really need just to remove myself out of.
Gotcha. So it takes work, and you have to find the right groups to be in, I guess. So that's great advice. All right, our final section is
make way for the LinkedIn creator economy. You know that everyone has been working on their own creator community, their own creator economy, and LinkedIn is joining the fold. This week, we learned about the launch of LinkedIn's very own Creator Accelerator initiative, and it's looking to support in-app talent, so people that are already active and engaging and building that sense of community on LinkedIn. They want to keep its top voices talking on the platform. They want to keep them going. So as explained by Andre Santolo, the head of community at LinkedIn, they are building on the tools and resources that they have available for creators today. And they're rolling out this Creator Accelerator program and investing $25 million to help these creators build their audience and amplify their voices. It's a 10-week incubator style program. So it's not like they just send you off. They really are investing in you to grow, to develop, and they're giving participants coaching, a built-in creator network. So there's a group worth joining, I guess, on LinkedIn, and then an opportunity to be featured on the LinkedIn channels, plus a $15,000 grant to help them share content, spark conversation, and build community. So tell us more about this program and what your hopes might be for its success. And are you seeing a creator program or a creator community on LinkedIn?
Yes, so when LinkedIn Creator came out, I did turn it on. There's been a bit of a backlash against it, but I do like it. There are a couple of things. So I love the idea of this LinkedIn Creator Accelerator. What I don't love is that it's only available to Americans.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I live in Northern Ireland, in case people can't tell by my accent. So it's 10 weeks. There's 100 people, and we'll be taking on up to 100, which means that if you don't, they're so. I love how they're fussy. And so if they only get 97 brilliant applicants, they'll just stop at 97. And those people are going to be really supported over those 10 weeks, I think, and given tools. I'm guessing they'll be shown how to really do brilliant video, how to write better articles, that kind of content idea, how to build their own community. So they say there's three things. It's about building an audience, creating a community, and getting financially rewarded. So down the line, it looks like they're going to be monetizing people who are LinkedIn creators. I don't know how that's going to work in terms of how many followers there'll probably be numbers that you have to hit for certain things. But there's loads of tools out there for LinkedIn creators. So for example, every week there is the LinkedIn creators roundup by Daniel Roth, who is the head of LinkedIn News. He writes a post and he will highlight, I think, about 5 creators every week who he thinks, or well, I'm guessing his team probably, are doing a great job on LinkedIn. So you can go and look at those people. They then tell you 5 hashtags that when they started this, they said, here are 5 hashtags that are currently really popular on LinkedIn. And this week, it's one of those ones is hashtag this girl is me, or this little girl is me. But previously they said, and here are 5 hashtags we think are increasing and are going to be of interest in the next week. I didn't see that in the last roundup that he did, but a couple of people that he mentioned this week, and I really liked this one lady. She's called Tiffany Kent, Kent. She is a financial advisor, wealth management lady, and she starts singing. It's really funny. She starts singing a Taylor Swift song about being 22, and then she literally pulls it into talking about the stock market, and it's so cool. And I thought that's the kind of thing they're looking for. It was entertaining, funny, and then actually she got straight into business then. But she caught everyone's attention, and she's got like about 2,000 followers. So it's not like they are selecting their top 5 creators every week who are people who have 100,000 followers. They're literally looking who is making a bit of a noise, a bit of a splash on this platform, and bringing people together, and people are staying on the platform because of the content they're creating. I think that's what it's about. They've also got upcoming training, and today, Friday, they have a class. It's 8 o'clock UK time, so I'm not sure what time that is. Maybe New York, that's like 3 p.m. And that is aimed at giving Black creators on the platform support and advice and tools to really use their LinkedIn creators account. Next week, they have they're launching what it means to be a LinkedIn creator. And on the 27th of September, they have a 5-day what's it say? A 5-day week long, a 5-day LinkedIn creators learning week. And every day they are providing free webinar. I think it's an hour-long webinar. And they have people who will be coming on. So one of the days, 24th, there's a lady called Authentic Alex. Her surname is Galviz, Galviz. And she's going to be presenting an hour-long class about storytelling, how to tell your story on LinkedIn. She's a mental health advocate and a storyteller. So that's going to be really cool. And to find out when those workshops, I guess they are going to be on, and they're free to everybody, you have to go to the LinkedIn Creator page on LinkedIn and they're going to list them all there. So it'll be an event on LinkedIn, so you'll have to sign up in order to go and attend that training. But that looks really interesting. So that's starting the 27th of September.
Awesome. So I have a couple questions. So especially because, so this is interesting. So, social media today, who we really like, but they kind of had a snarky post said, like, LinkedIn does not seem like the most obvious choice for creators, but, they're doing all this stuff because, you don't think of like creators, like, YouTubers and on Pinterest, all this stuff, creating stuff. It's kind of like LinkedIn is kind of where boring business is, but they're trying to not do this. But Sabrina has a great question. It's like, what does LinkedIn want to be? So I thought that was really good. Like, I would love to get rewarded for creating stuff on LinkedIn. I think that's, and things that aren't boring, I automatically is going to be up at the top. So kind of convince us.
We should also note, Jeff, that Andrea Santolo came from Instagram.
Yeah.
He used to work at Instagram to become the head of community at LinkedIn in May. So so the person that's leading this up has done this before. So,
right.
Obviously, I guess they want to be Instagram. I don't know.
Well, a funny thing was that the CEO of LinkedIn, Ryan Roslansky, when he did his LinkedIn stories, they were Instagram stories that he downloaded and uploaded, because I recognized all the images that he was using. And I was like, you're not even using your own stickers from LinkedIn stories on your LinkedIn stories. So I thought that was funny. And then bringing in this guy from Instagram, so that is interesting. But what does LinkedIn want to be? They say specifically they want to be a platform where people build community around the world of work.
So they want to be the big water cooler, the big water cooler in the sky. Yeah, that we can't ever. So, and Sabrina has a great point. Isn't everyone a creator now? She thinks so. Yes, I agree. So if you're creating content and putting it out on LinkedIn, I would say you're a creator. And so it's very, very interesting. So once again, we had more questions than we had time to deal with. But Louise, we got to have you back for part 2 because you are a chock full of information. There's a ton of great comments that people love your tips. Leona says, great advice. Love your tips, Louise. Thanks for an interesting, informative live, guys. I missed the beginning of this. You can catch up on it. Yes, as soon as we're done, you can watch the replay. It's also a podcast, Leona. So we would love it. It's at socialmedianewslive.com. And so many great comments, Louise, that people really enjoy seeing you. Jan says, sending you greetings from the Big D Dallas. Grace is from, and I'm in Texas too. So anyway, excited so much. But Louise, I want to give you a chance to tell everybody, about your podcast, where they can find out all about Louise Brogan, everything that you got on the plate. And you mentioned a little teaser of something you got in the works too. So tell them about that.
Yeah, so my business is LinkedIn with Louise, and I basically teach people how to use LinkedIn to win business in a non-sleazy way. So you get my podcast is I'm basically LinkedIn with Louise everywhere, because I like alliteration. But yes, I love to connect with people. So if you are on LinkedIn, come and connect with me and tell me that you saw me on the show, and go and check out my YouTube channel as well, which I am growing with a passion, because I actually discovered that I really love doing video. So yeah, come and connect with me on LinkedIn. That'd be super.
Yeah, so but for you guys listening on the podcast, you can find her on YouTube if you search for LinkedIn with Louise. So make sure you guys check that out. Also, do me a favor, go to her podcast and actually give her a rating and review, because that helps podcast people out so much when you get those rating and reviews over in Apple. So go to your favorite podcast app, do a search for LinkedIn with Louise, and sign up for that. Give her a rating and review, because that really helps everybody out. So, thank you for dropping. Everybody's dropping it in the comments. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys doing that. We would not be able to do the show without you, and we would not be able to do the show without our amazing sponsor, Ecamm. They make this show happen. They just finished up the amazing Leaped Into Live boot camp. I spoke there, Pat Flynn spoke there, Leslie Samuels, but they've got this great thing. If you happen to missed it because it's over, you can get the replays for life if you go to ecamm.tv/replay. That's ecamm.tv/replay. $10. That's like, that's a double latte at Starbucks now. So go get you don't need caffeine today. It's Friday. You can just take the rest of the day off. I give you permission. So thank you guys so much for being here. Louise, thank you so much for everything. Grace, where can people find you? Because you are amazing for putting this show together.
Oh, well, it is a pleasure and it is a joy to work with you, Jeff. The next 2 weeks, I'll actually be traveling at actual in-person conferences. So I'll be at FinCon 21 in Austin next week, and the following week, I will be at Vid Summit with a lot of our YouTube friends. So I know Daryl Eves, that's Daryl Eves' event, and hopefully I'll get to see a lot of you guys there too.
Yep. Do not forget, this is a podcast as well. You can find us at your favorite podcast player, Social Media News Live. Check that out. We would also love a rating and review. Our next show is Friday, September 24th at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. And you can always find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Amazon Live. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, Louise, for being here. Thank you to the amazing people in our comments and our audience for sharing it out. We love you guys. We wouldn't do this show without you. With that, we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.